Hope everyone's well. Welcome to another episode of Groovy Tuesday here on Facebook and YouTube Live. So I hope you're looking forward to today. I am. We're going to do some Pico cutting. We'll wait for a few people to join the room. The lovely Jilly is with us today. So if you have any questions, then you're more than happy to ask. I'll keep looking up and see if anything pops up. And hopefully we'll have the lovely Queen of the Grids in the room as well, the lovely Josie Davidson. So this should be my text message. Sound is good. Thank you, Jilly. There we go. That's all nice and clear. Super duper. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Helen, Ingrid, Mo, Linda. Good morning, ladies. Oh dear. Nice and sunny out there today. A little bit fresh this morning, but the sun is shining. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good day today. Yeah, as Barb says, we're just one day at a time, isn't it? So we just deal with what's in front of us. And for the next hour, we're going to get groovy and we're going to continue our journey with our basic grid work using the Queen Elizabeth plate that the lovely Josie designed. There we go. So we can see Linda's in the room. Good morning, Ken. Hope you're feeling a bit better today. Hope the bruises are starting to wear off a little. So there we go. There's a lovely Josie. Josie's in the room as well, the Queen of Grids. So there isn't anything she doesn't know about grids. Nothing, anything. What's the right word? Well, any questions that I don't go, Josie will be there to hold your hand. And of course, on Clarity Matters blog, every Sunday at 12 o'clock, there's a fantastic step-by-step by the amazing design team. They put so much work and energy into it, just to showcase the beautiful designs and what you can achieve, really. And last week, what was last week's one? I should have had a look. I can't remember. It was only a few days ago. But I'm sure Josie will pop in and tell you what it is. And I'm sure Jilly will pop a link up as well to the Clarity Matters blog, because there's tons and tons and tons of tutorials in there. And yeah, if you're ever looking for inspiration or ideas, then you've got the Clarity Matters blog. You've got Barbara's blog, which is barbaragrayblog.com. You've got a fantastic YouTube page as well. There's so many tutorials on there, from the Shack to the Groovy Tuesday to the Pergamano School, and tutorials that go back years and years and years when Barbara used to do, what was it called? Can't think, but it was every Tuesday, wasn't it? So yeah, some fantastic tutorials, and they're all free of charge. So I hope everyone's well this morning. Good morning. There we go. Jilly's put the link up for the Clarity Matters blog. So make sure you save that as a favourite and check it out. Grace does a Saturday share every Saturday, and then she does the tutorials on Sunday that the lovely design team send us. So thank you, a big thank you for that. I even learn when I'm sort of going through and just proofreading. That's interesting. So we can always learn something new. So I thought, right, this week, what we're going to do, we're going to continue with our Queen Elizabeth plate. So just have a bit of a recap just while people are coming in. So this is the plate that we've been looking at over the past. We're on week number 4 now. And what you'll notice with our beautiful duet plates from Josie is that there's 2 parts to it, hence it being called a duet plate. We have the brighter white area, which is the embossed pattern. And then we have the lighter area, which are drilled. Now, these work perfectly independent of one another, or when you combine them, you can get that beautiful lace effect. And I've got a few little pieces here that Josie's done. Where did I put those? Here we go. Is it in here? Yeah, here we go. So if you don't want to do any perforating whatsoever, then you can just, look at that. How easy is that to do? And it's just taking, let's just turn the plate over so we can have a look at it. And if we lay that over the top, you see, and Josie's actually made it narrower. So she's ignored the top row of the dots and just used the bottom part. See, and it's really easy to do. So if you just want to have a practice and just do a small piece without any perforating, then that's what the plates are there for as well. And there's no counting to it. Then when we have a look at this piece that Josie's done for us, let me show you this. Oh, okay, I've got two bits to show you. Okay, so this is where we start off, but when you look at the plate, I wonder if I come in a little bit closer just so we can see that. And if I go around in this direction, let's have a look, zoom in. Oh, wrong way. I've got a sign in front of me which tells you which way to swivel the camera. Still got it wrong. Okay. So when we have a look at this part, just using the embossing, and then when we compare it to this part, okay, so this is the top part of the design. Let me take a piece of black paper and cover that up. See, so Josie's just used that part there, ignoring the embossing part of the lovely little, I suppose they're sort of like little teardrops or petals. Okay, so that gives you that part. And when we look at this one, then that's ignoring the top. So they really are, when you get comfortable with them, there's so many different things that you can do with them. So then we combine both parts. Let's have a look now. So now we've added all of the embossing in, and then we're starting to perforate. And this is where the other part of the plate comes into play. So we turn it right over, so it says perforate this side up, position it, which we've covered over the last few weeks, and then we perforate. Okay, now in each of the Duet plates, or all of the Duet plates, Josie's also given us a guide on the cutting. And this is what it looks like when you've cut it out. Okay, but you may decide that you just want to do some of the picot cutting, and that's what we're going to do on our project. We're just going to picot cut the inner part and not worry about the outside edge, because we introduced that double line that's on the plate. Okay, so that's what that looks like there. And then when it's complete, if you chose to perforate all around the outside, then that's what it will look like. Isn't that beautiful? And it really is achievable. When you've got the guidance from Josie with the written instructions, and you've got the YouTubes that you can follow, it really does sort of make it nice to do. Okay, so last week we was looking at putting a little topper in the middle, and I know a lot of you will be familiar with this design. This is the beautiful, let me just move all this to one side. This is the plate that Jim designed. So it's for Ukraine. So 50% of all proceeds will be donated to the Red Cross to help and assist what's going on in Ukraine. And I very simply just took the sentiment and then used the border to top and tail it. Okay, so let me put this beautiful piece of artwork to one side so I don't catch it with my arm. Let's pop that over to one side. So when we bring in the piece we've been working on, there we go. This is how far we got last week. So last week we finished off the perforating the week before, and time just flew by last week, didn't it? And we just did the embossing, and we had the lovely Linda Williams in the room with us, and she was saying two layers of white work is more than sufficient to achieve that, and that's what we did. Now, if you're interested in the Groovi plate, Gilly's popped that up for you, or maybe you've been joining Barb in the shack, and yesterday Barb was stamping this out. Beautiful, beautiful design, and just gave you a few tips and tricks on what you could do with it to make really simple but thoughtful cards. And the idea was that if you want to make a card, whether you do it with the stamp or the Groovi, and then send it to us if you wish to. Maybe you want to include a donation of say £5–10, and then we'll add that to the donation that we're going to make from the sale of each of these 2 different products. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a recap in case you missed out on the Shack yesterday. But don't forget, you can always go back and watch. So if you've got the stamps and you was out and about yesterday, check back on the YouTube page for yesterday and see what Barbara got up to with that. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's pop those to one side. Are we all good to go? Okay, so what are we going to need for today's session? Well, we need our piece of artwork that we've been working on, and we're also going to need, let me have a look. Now you can use your Pico foam, or I'm using the 12x12 super foam because it's a larger area for me to work on. It gives me more rest for my hands. I've got my piece of artwork, and then last week we had a look at the 3 different types of scissors, the Pergamano scissors. And we had a bit of a dummy run, didn't we? We had like a warm-up exercise. And remember when I tested it and showed that was using the ring lock, that was using the Perga cutters, and that was using the exclusives. So we'll have a recap on those again this morning, because rather than go straight into our work, what we're going to do, we're going to warm up as well. Okay, so let's pop this to one side, and we'll put our tools to one side as well. And then what we're going to need is our Queen Elizabeth plate to start off with. And I need my plate mate. So I'm going to go with the plate mate for grids. So I know that's in my folder. There we go. Another beautiful piece of artwork by Josie. All the counting's done for us. And I'm just going to position that in the plate mate just like that, because to start off with, what I want is a nice straight line. So I'm going to take my piece of A5 parchment. You can have a scrap piece if you've got a scrap piece to hand, and I'm going to wipe it both sides of the parchment. Okay, so that side, and then that side. There we go. And then just to start off with, all I want is a straight line. So I can use the lines on the plate mate to line my parchment up. Take a couple of Groovi tabs. Okay, just like that. So we've got the embossing side up. You just need a straight line really. So if you've got any of the other plates that will give you the straight line. I also need my Groovi guard, which is key. Oh, I've got 2 now. I splashed out. I didn't splash out. Took it off the shelf. Never have too many Groovi guards because you'll always lose one. And then all I'm going to do now, I'm using the number 1 tool that comes in the starter kit, and I'm just going to trace out a nice straight line. Okay, let's just make sure. There we go. A nice straight line. Now what we're going to do is I will come in a little bit closer when we turn this around. I'm going to turn the plate over so it says perforate this side up. I'm going to turn my parchment over because we emboss from the back and we perforate from the front. And all I'm going to do now is just line up the straight line with the row of perforations. And I'm just going slightly above or below the row. Below the row. So let me zoom in now for this. Okay, rather than come inwards, so I need to go that way. Don't want to go too close so it doesn't go out of focus. Okay. Are we okay? Are we all going to warm up together? Just imagine it's just like going to the gym and we're warming up before we do our aerobics or Pilates, something like that. I'm going to take my 1 needle bulb now, and I'm just going to perforate. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go like that. I shouldn't have gone far to the edge. There we go. So we're just going to perforate a row of holes. And the one needle bolt has been designed to specifically to work within all of our Duet grids, or all of our grids really, apart from the superfine. Okay, don't need too many, just a nice warm-up exercise. Okay, so now we can remove our safety net, put the plates to one side, pop those over there, remove the Groovi tabs. Ooh, look at those hands. Don't want to see those too close, do you? There we go. So we can now see we've got a nice row of perforations. As I said last week, we've got 3 different types of scissors, and they are all super fine because the key to the scissors is the fine point at the end. They're not like normal scissors where you're cutting a piece of paper or piece of card. The most important part is the tips of the scissors. Okay. Now I'm going to go with the ring lock because they're more comfortable in my hand. And what you'll notice, all of our scissors have this fantastic curve to them. And they really do need to have that curve in order to get a really nice picot cut. Okay. And I'm going to hold mine in the spoon position with the tip going upwards rather than the fork position with the tip going down. But it's entirely up to you. I prefer to picot cut on the flat. Some people prefer to picot cut in their hand. I did learn when I was doing the picot cutting to cut in my hand with the tip down. And what that taught me was how far I went in with the scissors. Because if you go in too far with the scissors, the blades of the scissors will actually cut in between each perforation. And the idea is to squeeze and snip. Okay, so I'm going to hold it so it's a comfortable position for me. I'm going to come in with my fingers underneath. Okay, so it's like I'm holding it like a recorder, so to speak. And then all I'm going to do, I'm going to use this finger here, not to balance, but just to rest. And I'm going to need my glasses for sure. See, old age creeping up on me now. But definitely need my glasses. Are they clean? Let's have a look. So what scissors are you going for? Which ones have you got in your stash? Have you got all 3 of them? Or have you just got one? Do you find one's more comfortable than the other? Josie, remind me which ones you prefer to use. I can't remember. Okay. I think you're a perga cutter person, if I remember rightly. Okay. Fingers in from underneath. Gives me that little bit more balance on holding the scissors. And then all I'm going to do is just pop the tips of the scissors in. I'm going to squeeze. Now this is a warm-up exercise. And then as I squeeze, some people come towards them. Some people go away from them. But the idea is just to give it that little squeeze. And when you see it form a picot or that point, then you snip. Okay. And it's not a race. I mean, it took me 6 months to learn how to do it. Okay. And by doing this warm-up exercise, what it does, it gets my hand in the right movement. So Glynis uses the snips. Chrissy says she's got all 3, but her best is with the tweezer ones, the perga cutters. Susan Young's the same. Oh, so the perga cutters seem to be popular. Good. And then all we're going to do is just work our way along. So you're going back into the hole that you last came out of to go back in. So really you're increasing the cut by 1 perforation at a time. Okay, and I'm just giving mine a little twist. And this may be rubbish, it may be good, I don't think it's too bad as a warm-up, but it's always a good idea to do this first to get your eye in, but two, to also just get your hand going. There we go. Josie uses the snips. There we go. She's just sent me a text. Thank you, Josie. Right, so let's take this away. Not bad. Started off a little bit dodgy. Let me come in on, I'm going to come in on this one. So I started off here. I'm going to bring that up, see, before it goes out of focus. Or is it my glasses that are going out of focus? Hang on, take the glasses off. There we go. So it's not too bad, but it could be better. And that's why it's a really good idea just to practice. A straight line, I'm sure that the ladies, the experts in the room will agree, a straight line will always be harsher to the eye than if we're doing within a design like a cross, etc. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to bring our piece of artwork that we've been working on. If you feel comfortable with that, are we all good at that? Have we all had a little practice? Are you watching, or are you giving it a go as well? Trying to go sort of at a really nice sort of steady pace. So if you're sort of giving it a go, then yeah, hopefully you've done a little row. You haven't got to do the whole row. It's just all about just getting the wrist action going, really, or your fingers if you're using the perga cutters. Okay, so let's have a look. So right, we have the design and we have our cutting guide from Josie. Maybe if I go this way, there we go, that might be easier. Okay, so you've got all the detail, and where you need to snip, or where Josie's suggesting that we do the snipping, is marked with red. Okay, now you've got full instructions on here on how to use the plate. So if you get the plate home and you think, where do I start? Josie has given us all those instructions as well. So even if you can't get to a computer, you can't watch back, then you've got the instructions in the plate as well. Okay, nice and easy. And you've always got that guide on what it should look like. Okay, so for me, what I find easy, and I know I'm going to go this way because we're going to start along this edge here. So when we have a look, we're going to snip. I'm going to snip all in one direction down one side. Then I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to go in that direction. And we're just concentrating within this area. Okay. So to start off with, it's just one little snip at a time. Okay. Scissors at the ready. And we're going to start here and then we're going to snip. Now, one of the great things I love about these Duet plates is that if you're not this far yet on your bus journey to do the picot cutting, you don't have to, because the design looks beautiful just embossed and perforated. And this is why we introduced, if I bring in the plate, I know I digress slightly. This is why when we first brought out the Duet plates, we also added in these double straight lines on the inner part and the outer part. And that's on all of the different Duet plates. So what that means is that you can create a frame like this around your piece of artwork, and you can just use a paper trimmer or a craft knife and a ruler to trim your work down. So you haven't got to worry about doing the picot cutting around the outside. You can just concentrate, if you choose to, on the picot cutting in the middle. Oh, where was I? Here we go. So can we see that? Okay. So if we go there, and if you do go in too far with the scissors, you will find, as I say, that it cuts the parchment rather than snips it. Okay, so we're going to work our way in one direction. You can do each section one at a time if you want, but what you'll find is that your hand gets into the rhythm of that flow, rather than sort of do that, then turn it round, then turn it round, and turn it round, and turn it round. You may find, I know from experience myself, that it works better doing it this way. Okay, so now we're going to go down one long side of each of these little rectangles. Can we see that? Okay. What if I come in on this one, and see if I can zoom in on this one here. I'm going to stretch over. Just bear with me for a moment, see if I get this right. No, wrong. Coming closer. Ooh. Right, okay. Let's see how close we can get on this one. Okay, so where was I? I was here, wasn't I? So if I come over, keep the mat there, and bring my work over. No, I want to come over this way. I want to come to about here. Okay, so it's tips of the scissors in, squeeze, give it a little tilt if you wish to. You would have found that from when you're doing your practice piece. Now the position of my hand isn't moving. It's my work that I'm moving all the time. Okay. And this finger here is just acting as a little sort of a rest or a guide. Okay. And then we're going to go through and just, we had a meeting yesterday, and brother Steve came over to join us. He who makes all our lovely Groovi plates for us. And we was talking about something, and he said, oh, when he's at home with Sheila at the weekend, he said they're watching TV and it's like snip, 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 snip. He said you get used to it after a while. It just sits in the background, the noise, but it's very satisfying when you're doing it to hear that little. Let me come in close. Hang on. Can you hear that? Yeah. Did you hear that? There we go. See, even my voice is slowing down as well, because it's just so. And this will be more forgiving. So if your picot cutting isn't what you think should be, then it's not going to show any real imperfections. Okay, so we've done all of that side now, and now we're going to turn around and we're going to come across the top. Okay, now what I'm going to do, so I don't crease or put too much pressure on my work here, I'm going to rest. So let's come over. I don't want to cut. I want to come over that way. There we go. So now we're going to do this top row. Oh, missed that one. Forgot to go back and do those ones, Paul. There we go. And then see, the angle in which I'm holding this feels a little bit uncomfortable, so I'm just going to turn it slightly. That's better. And you'll find, especially if you've got the 12 by 12 superfoam, because you've got that larger area to work on, I find it's better because I've got more room for the rest of my arm to rest on. Done that one, done that one. And we're just going to slowly work our way along the design. Now I chose the shorter side to start with. And then we're going to go along here. Okay, So that's 3 sides done now. So it doesn't take long once you get going, does it? And then we're going to turn it this way. Let's have a look where we're going. I'm going down here. So I need to come over here more. And this is where it will now all start to fall out if you've snipped every part. But if you haven't, it won't. And you just go back and snip the bits you missed. So it's easy done. I've done it myself in the past. I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't a few pieces here that I've forgotten to snip, because I'm sort of snipping and looking up at the same time, trying to multitask. Okay. And it's just... It really is. When all these little pieces fall out, you just get that real sense of achievement. And it isn't a race. You go at whatever pace you want to. If you want to do one side, have a rest, go and put the kettle on, come back, you can do that. As long as you've completed the section, really, so that you just know where you need to start back. The other option is to put a little Groovi tab where you left off. So it's easy to go back and pick up again. Okay, I can see all these lovely little bits starting to fall away. There we go. It's just so... It really is. All I can hear is the snip, snip, snip of the parchment. So satisfying. As I say, if you're new to picot cutting, some people will get it straight away. It took me 6 months to learn it. Okay, so now if I give that a little tap, and look, have I caught it? Or yeah, that just needs a little snip just there. I said there'd be a couple that I'd missed. There's one there. Just turn that round and just run my finger. Don't try and pull anything, because you'll end up ripping it. There we go. One more just there. Okay, let's get rid of all these little bits. Oh, you can't see anything on that. We'll just get rid of those little bits. Okay, let's look where we're going. We're going over here. So now if I hold that up, we can see we've now got the design. Should I compare it to Josie's? I know Josie is going to be a lot better than mine. Where's that piece from Josie? Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. It's the overall effect, isn't it, that we're aiming for? And I think that's quite good for the first part. What do you reckon? What do you reckon, Josie? Have I got it, or do I need more warm up? Let's pop that to one side. How did you get on with that piece? Have you done? Did you do the long bit, or did you do the short bit? So thank you, Josie and Pat. Oh, let's have a slurp of coffee just to refocus the eyes. While we're doing that, Barb mentioned yesterday about what we've got coming up this week, and on Friday we've got 5 hours of TV over on crateandcraft.com, kicking off at 7 a.m. in the morning with some of our beautiful dies. So we're going to be looking at the nested doodle rectangles and oval dies. So hopefully I've got to work out a few new tips and tricks for those, with the beautiful Earth Has Music Be Still and Listen dies designed by Mel Turner. together with the London, New York and Paris skylines. I think they just really encapsulate and work so well together. So that's at 7 o'clock. Then at 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock, the lovely, crazy Sam Crow will be back on your screens with her fantastic collection of sort of journaling, fishy, arty, papers, stamps, notelets, postcards, a real sort of beautiful collection. The papers are absolutely gorgeous that she's designed. I mean, the stamps are as well, the little fishy ones. We've got a couple of new stamp collections on there. So I'm going to be steering clear behind the counter on that one because Sam will be getting a jelly plate out the box. That's if it lives in a box. It probably doesn't, knowing Sam. And so she's going to be putting those through the paces, and her beautiful other sort of doodle stamps, the I'm overly mad about you, but really fantastic stamps and stencils as well. And the stencils that she designed to go with the collection, absolutely beautiful. Frameless stencils, set of 5 on those. So make sure you tune in because we've got some fantastic offers on those at 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And if you hear any screams from the studio, it's because she's probably throwing paint or splattering paint everywhere. And then at 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock, we've got some beautiful designs from lovely Barbara. Now, some of you may be familiar with the stamps that Barbara launched, and I think you doodled in the shack last year. Right, I'm going to zoom out now for this. You may remember the seasonal wreaths. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out, so I need to come that way. There we go. So some of you may already have these stamps. Beautiful, beautiful design. So we've got spring, summer, autumn and winter. And there's so many different elements on the stamp. So this is the spring set. Let's just pop that there. And then the guys in the office work their magic. And we now have it in Groovi. So you've got this one, you've got that one, just like the stamps. And then you've got all these little elements on there. Got a lovely little daffodil on there, some daisies. The first bloom in spring makes my soul sing. Isn't that beautiful? Just like it is on the stamps. Okay, so that's spring. So where we're going to go, this spring over there, spring over there. Then we have spring, summer. Let's think about that then. Summer, we've got beautiful foxgloves. And we then have the same in the Groovi plate as well. And I'm going to show a bit of artwork off as well because these are absolutely magical. Really, really beautiful. So many different elements in the stamps and also in the Groovi. So that's summer. Living for the summer days. There we go. Then we have autumn. Leaves are falling, autumn is calling. That's nice. I like that. And then got the lovely little sort of little Bambi looking deer. We've got the owls. We've got the acorns, the moons. But these are just absolutely beautiful. The detail has not been lost when it's been transferred from the stamps into the Groovi. Okay, so that's autumn. And then finally, never too early for winter. Not sure. Look at this. The holly, the mistletoe. You warm my heart at winter. All these different elements. These you can use. They're not just seasonal. You could use these throughout the year. And when you see some artwork, it's just right. I'm going to show you some artwork now. Rather than me say when you see it, let me tease you with some artwork that was designed team. It's only a few, but I just wanted to just bring in a couple of samples to show you. So this one here has been created by the lovely Glynis using the spring. Look at that, the rainbow parchment paper in the background, the rainbow parchment used. Very simple, but very elegant. I think it works fantastic with the oval designs. So if you've got the oval doodle dies, you could do this onto an A5 piece of parchment and then just put one of the oval doodle frames around the outside as well. See, just mixing and matching what you've got. Then the next one is from the lovely Francis. And some of you may be familiar with the layout plates designed by Linda Williams. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, these are all beautiful. It was hard to pick a selection to showcase off. But I mean, what Francis is well known for is a beautiful sort of painting. In fact, let me come in. Look. Where am I going with that? Look at that. It really does look like painting on porcelain. Look at the shading. Absolutely crazy. I'll get there one day. Don't know what day, but you know what? When you see samples like this and you have the versatility of the Groovi plates, then it gives you that confidence. Then we have another piece here. Look, so you can go big or you can go small. So this is from Glynis, and Glynis has used the nested octagons, and she's used the center part of one of Josie's circular Duet plates, just to give that little finishing touch, just in the middle. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, then the next one is by Carol Baker. Now, Carol's really got the hang of the grids. This is an individual frame. This is an individual frame. If I was to remove these brads, they would literally be frames. But the foxglove for a special mother. Isn't that gorgeous? Really right. And the rainbow behind it, you got that lovely, I'm guessing that's excuse me, lavender fields, I reckon. Let's just have a look. Yeah, lavender fields, parchment and paper. Really great. And then there's this one here from Josie Davidson. See, I had to check that one because there's no grid work on there from Josie. See, normally when we get the cards from Josie, you can sort of say, right, that's a Josie one because it's got loads of grid work on it. And there are some spectacular pieces using the grids. But this with the Shenandoah designer parchment, I think I may replicate this one on TV just to show how easy and achievable it is to create the beautiful designs. So if we have a look at the plate itself, let's have a look. So this is the autumn plate. See, when we have a look side by side, what Josie's done is she's done part of the branch and then she's taken this one to extend it. So you've got that seamless join. Isn't that clever? Really, really clever. So I might have a go at that one on TV. Then the next one is from Jane. Look at that. Another one of Josie's circular grids. But just the white. What kind of parchment is she? I reckon she's used the orange squash. Oh, it doesn't say. I reckon that's the orange squash coloured parchment. But isn't it effective? The pure white brightness against that colour palette. Then we have another one. So we're going into winter now. Never too early to make a start on, dare I say, our Christmas cards. Look at that. And a lot of you will be familiar with these lovely two little red robins designed by our good friend Linda Williams. Really, really beautiful. I love that. And when we have a look at the plate on that one, so if I lay that plate over the top, you can see how she's created that. Really, really spectacular. And then if you wanted to complete a quick and easy card, this one is from Sheila. I say quick and easy. I'm on about the actual design itself. I'm not necessarily talking about the outer edges, but the actual concept and the, what's the word I'm looking for? The composition. is so achievable. So you could do this with a holly wreath, you could do it with the mistletoe, you could do it with the autumn one, you could do it with the foxgloves, or you could do it with the spring, the daisy. You can repeat this design or this composition with all 4 of these lovely plates designed by Barb. So I'm really looking forward to showcasing those on Friday at 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock on createandcraft.com. So I hope you can join us throughout the day there. So is that giving you enough time to de-stress from doing your first bit of picot cutting? There we go. What we're saying here, some comments. Dawn says the most exercise I get is setting up everything. And then once you've got it set up, Dawn, then you're good to go, aren't you? So, okay. So should we carry on? So when we have a look, remember we were talking about the lovely little piece of artwork from the sunflower Groovi plate. Now, when we add this into our design, it really does add that little finishing touch to it, doesn't it? So you could put a lovely yellow or blue paper in the background. And next week, we're going to have a look at colouring in or creating a panel to pop in the inside. So maybe I'll do a different one using the plate. Now, if you haven't got the plate, don't forget you can always stamp on parchment as well. Barb loves doing that. So you could take a piece of the designer parchment and stamp on that if you're not so sure about your colouring in. But because these are so small areas, it really is achievable. So I reckon what we'll do, we'll carry on, we'll do a little bit more picot cutting, just to sort of have a bit of a recap. And then I reckon, yeah, I reckon next week will be good with some colouring. So I'm going to do see, you've got choices. You don't have to do the sides. You could just do the top and the bottom, or you could do the 2 long sides. And we kept this really simple when it came to the sides, because we started off with a piece of parchment to work out our topper, which just happened to be the same size as what it was on the plate. So we didn't need to extend it. We didn't need to, I mean, if you'd gone that way, I mean, it's the same design there and there. So just take your topper and have a look. Or just, if you know that that's the size you want to work on, maybe you've got some of our lovely parchment poppets and you've got one of those that you've die cut out and you just want to pop that in the middle. Really, really quick and easy. Okay. So should we do a little bit more picot cutting? Let's come back in on this one. And where are we going? We're going on this one. Let's do the short end again. He says as he gets it in the wrong position. There we go. Okay. Glasses at the ready. Quick guzzle of coffee. Lubricate the old tonsils. I'm going to tilt it slightly so it's comfortable in my hand. Groovi guard is going to nestle on top to protect my work. And then we're going to start off across here. So we're just going in. That's a bit dodgy, that one. And then we're just going to work our way along. So give it a gentle squeeze until it forms a point, and then snip. You don't need to tilt. It's whatever. Some people will say, do tilt the scissors. Some people don't. Some people work towards them. Some people work away. I think Barb works away when she's picot cutting. It's what you feel more comfortable with. Whether you find it's easier to hold it in your hand so you can feel the points of the scissors. Obviously, when you purchase the scissors, you get a little bit of picot foam that you can pop underneath as well. So if you think, oh, you can't see where you're going, then you've got that little bit of picot foam underneath as well. Actually, feels quite comfortable. It's when you get into more detailed area. Let's have a go in my hand. See if that makes any difference, but it's just a different. See, for me, holding it up like this, I can feel the pressure on my arm. Whereas when I'm flat, I don't get any pressure. I mean, it's not like a horrible pressure. I can just feel it because it's not something that I'm used to doing or holding my arm in that position. There we go. It really, so if you do it in one direction first, it will save you some time rather than doing each little rectangle one at a time. But that may be your preference. You may like doing it that way. Who's snipping along, or can you not snip and watch at the same time? It's hard to sort of read the room as well whilst you're doing this. When I'm tracing out, if I'm going to trace out a design exactly how it comes, I can actually look up and read the screen at the same time. But when you're pico cutting, you can't do that. You may snip at the wrong place. Okay. See, it doesn't take that long to do. It'd be great seeing your artwork on Groovi Worldwide. So when you've had a go, pop it on there so we can all have a look. Not to judge, just to see how you're getting on. And if you've got any questions, I know Josie's in there, and Glynis and Linda and all the design team are there to offer advice. Okay, so we've done that side. So now we're going to go this side. Let's see, I need to come over this way a bit more. There we go. And if you always start in the same place, like I've always started there and I'm coming towards me, you do get into that rhythm. But it's great. It really, there's no way that I ever thought, I mean, I never thought I'd be doing parchment craft, let alone doing pico cutting. But I really enjoy the effect that you get. And with a little bit of practice, you can achieve some beautiful results. Okay, we're almost done on this row. A little bit faster this time. See, 'cause my arm's warmed up now. And then going to come across here, and now it's all going to start. I think we've done all four sides now, because it should now start to fall away. There we go. So I think we had 3 little bits hanging in last time. I wonder how many bits we'll get hanging in this time. But just go back in and give it a gentle snip, snip, snip. I don't know why I say it like that. Josie's working on secret stuff, but keeping my eye on the comments on what you're doing, Paul. Oh dear. Oh, I know what secret stuff Josie's working on. Oh. But she's keeping her eye on me, which is good, because she'll point me in the right direction if I'm going wrong. Because I'm no expert. I've only picked up what I've learned from watching the experts. I just happen to be in a position that I can share what I've picked up. And I know the ladies on the design team are there to offer additional help and support. Really, really. Am I still in shot? Yes. Probably about to go out of shot any minute. Let's just slide that forward a little bit. There we go. It really doesn't take long. And if you're looking for a distraction, you just want to spend an hour of doing something where you don't really need to think about what you're doing. Oh, there we go. One little hanger in there. Let's have a look. Needs a little snip. Just there, I reckon. And just there. There we go. Right. Let's just get rid of those little bits. Those little bits get everywhere. They're like Groovi tabs. Where are we going? Up there. So that's the top row done. So now, if we come in on the overhead, see, this is what I mean by you don't have to do everything. You can just do the top and bottom and you'll get a look. You could just do the two longer sides. But I think it's nice if we complete the whole frame for our little piece of artwork. And if we think we've been doing this over, we're on week number 4 now. And we're just going at a really nice, steady pace. And what Ken says, oh, there's too many P's there, Ken. Practice and patience makes perfect Pico. It sure does, my friend. It sure does. It's like anything, isn't it? The more you practice, hopefully the better you'll get. We can't say the more you practice, the better you will get, because it's all that sort of mindset. And we're always our own worst critic. And we'll look at something and we'll go, it's not what I expect it to be, or it's not as good as what I've seen. But it's hard to explain. If you're happy with what you've done and you can look at it and say, okay, maybe I need to improve a little bit here or improve a little bit there, then that's what it's all about. We're not here to judge and say, oh, that one's a little bit wonky, this one's a little bit off. It's the overall effect and it's what you get out of it. If this is your distraction from what's going on outside in the world and you just want to put your head down, I'm not saying bury your head, but you just want to distract yourself for a while, then crafting for me is one of those great projects, whether it be stamping, whether it be colouring, whether it be Groovi, just tracing out a design, perforating, pico cutting. There will be something there that you think, okay, I'm going to concentrate on this, and when I come back in an hour, then I'll look at what's next on the agenda. So yeah, I think I'm not saying lose yourself. It's not about that. It's about sort of like just distracting yourself for a while, short period. I suppose when you think about it, you go to sleep, don't you? And while you're asleep, if you don't dream, you've got that sort of cut off. And so maybe for an hour or 2 hours a day, maybe that's what you need, just to, if you think that things are getting a little bit too much, then just maybe go for a walk. So the sun is shining down here in Kent, and I'm sure it's meant to be shining all over the UK today. So maybe we just walk around the block. Maybe that's all you need to do. But for me, crafting really does make that difference. Crafting can calm the soul. It definitely can. So, and yeah, as you say, Yvonne, it is a leveler. It's all about putting it in perspective. And if you want to make a piece that as Barb suggested yesterday in the Shack, whether it be a stamp piece, whether it be, even if you've just got if you don't have to do this, if you spent time doing this and you don't want to send this in, I will not be offended when we open the envelopes. Just take a little rectangle and just create a little piece, whether you just do the make art not war. I mean, Glynis posted a fantastic piece of artwork, Dove of Peace, using the die cut cards of the doves, and then she used that as a pattern and she infilled it with embossing and perforating and pico cutting. Maybe you want to give that a go. take that as your inspiration. I'm sure Glynis will repost that up on Facebook and on Groovi and Clarity Worldwide. Maybe Glynis, it'd be great if you could maybe you could email that to me, and we could put that in the blog on Sunday as well. Just at the top of the blog, I think I can have a chat with Grace on that, and we can showcase that off. It doesn't need any step-by-steps, but I think just that little bit of, I'm talking to you as if you're looking at me, but I forgot I was on the overhead. So yeah, Glynis, maybe if you could email that to me, that'd be fantastic. And we'll add that into the Clarity Matters blog on Sunday. Because I know this week we've got another step-by-step. Well, I know this week. Every week we have a fantastic step-by-step from one of our Groovi design team members. And it's following on, still using the grids as well. So Josie's done another sort of masterpiece. And just because Josie's done it, don't think, oh, I can never achieve that. I mean, obviously Josie is the queen of grids. So never be put off because you see someone do something that may be doing it for years and years that you can't do it. Because for me, that's what the Groovi system is all about. It's making it achievable. And as Barb says, it's being on that bus journey. You don't have to go from A to Z in half an hour at 90 miles an hour. It's all about going at your own pace. And at every bus stop, as Barb says, you'll get a beautiful piece of artwork. Even if you just want to trace out the designs, maybe look in your stash, pull out some old plates and just trace them out. That for me is enough of a distraction and a sort of way of looking at different things. But if you purchase the lovely sunflower Groovi plate and you want to just do a little piece like that, maybe just do it on the rainbow parchment or the designer parchment and just make a little card that way. That probably took me about 10-15 minutes to do. But if I'd done it on the designer parchment or the rainbow parchment, then I wouldn't need to add any colour at all. And there'll be some beautiful colour packs. We've got the taster packs there. So if you don't want to invest in such a large pack of the designer parchment, we've got the taster packs. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a rectangle. It could be a circle, it could be a square, it could be anything. Just cut a little piece down. Like Barb was working yesterday on a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch piece. Just do a series of little notelets and just think about why you're doing it. Yeah, really, really simple but beautiful. So I can't believe that hour was gone. If I brought everything up, yep. So we've got the TV on Friday, the new plates and samples from the design team, and the lovely sunflower stamps and Groovi plate. So I hope you picked something up from today. By next week, I'm going to finish off pico cutting the other two sides, or maybe not. I might leave it. I haven't decided yet. And then next week, we'll have a look at that beautiful sunflower plate, and I'll come up with some different layouts, different sizes, and then we can have a play with that, maybe add a little bit of colour, just to finish off. And then I'll give you some tips and tricks. I mean, you may have already seen it on TV when we've done it, by just trimming this down using the Pergamano ruler with the Groovi grip. So, so thank you again for joining me. I will hopefully see you on TV on Friday. Back in the shack with you on Monday with Barb. And whatever you're doing, just do a little bit of crafting. And I'll see you next week. Take care now. Bye-bye.